Communication is, of course, said to be the key to life. But what happens when it's profoundly difficult to communicate with members of your own family? One mother from Cornwall has led the charge to ensure that parents of deaf children can learn sign language for free, and has petitioned the government for this important change after finding out that night courses to do it would cost a lot of money. So the campaign is ongoing, and there is a petition online which is gaining attraction. It certainly caught our eye. But what has the government response been to it? I'm delighted to be joined by Katie Littlejohns, who is behind that campaign. And there she is. Katie, have you had a response from the Department for Education?
Yes, I've had 3 responses now. They actually all state the same, that I need to speak to the Department of Work and Pensions. They've explained that there's an adult education budget available. Unfortunately, if you actually read into that, it's not available to everybody. It's actually not very accessible for working parents like myself. It's aimed more for like 19 to 24-year-olds and is devolved differently through each council. So it's not really an option, and you have to research to find that. It's not something that's a readily available information for parents. I have written to the DWP. I've actually heard from them a very short letter telling me that the education department is responsible for this. So, I'm a bit stuck at the moment.
Well, it's an intriguing anecdote that actually tells people who are kind enough to be watching our conversation, or if they are able to, listening to our conversation, how truly incredible dysfunctional government sometimes can be. But let me pick out the good bit of your observations there, and that is that there is a recognition, in whichever department it might be, that this is a real need and that there is some help available for it. How big a need is it? When we were talking about doing this item, you may or may not know that one of my bosses, both of her siblings have deafness, and therefore she is very, very keen and very interested in this subject. But I had to confess I had no idea how widespread it is. Particularly between parents and, as you said yourself, small children, not teenagers or young 20s who may well get some help from DWP, but kids at school.
Yeah, so like yourself, it was something I was oblivious to until 2 years ago when I had my little baby boy, Alvy. He was diagnosed at just 7 weeks old, and he had hearing aids by 10 weeks old. It was a brilliant, quick response. Like, the service from audiology was incredible, and the support from the council has equally been incredible. But access to sign language is incredibly limited. It's difficult, it's not free, but it's a communication, and for so many people, children, it's going to be their main form of communication. And that's something that shouldn't need to be bought or have to qualify for funding. It's something that everybody should have fair access to. It's something I certainly had never thought about. I'm from a hearing family. I was brought up to speak English like most people and I just think it's a shame that you've got this demographic that's being completely left behind, and the isolation that can cause can be devastating. Language acquisition is vital for child development, and if it's not available, then we need to do something about that. I've been very fortunate that the British Deaf Association and the NDCS have been incredibly supportive of the campaign, and they've now jumped on board, and they're amazing, and I couldn't be doing it without them.
Well, that's lovely of you to say that, and they're both great organisations. I know a little bit about them. Let's cut a deal here. We have to end it now because we're coming up towards the top of the hour. But keep in touch, and if you get any semblance of sense out of either DWP or the Department of Health, you let us know, and we'll continue the conversation and about Alvy's brilliant progress there as well. But from all of us here, the very best of luck to you, and it's entirely our pleasure. And you keep in touch with us. Thank you very much indeed. Katie Littlejohn's there.